the crumhorn came into our culture in the 15th century, sort of 1420 or so, and it was obsolete by the mid-1600s. And I'm about to demonstrate why. Via one of the songs from my album, which is called Harrison. It's about Major General Thomas Harrison, 17th signatory of the execution warrant of Charles I, undefeated in battle against the royalist scum. Unfortunately, since the traitors allowed the festering monarchy to return in 1660 via, when he escaped, Charles II escaped from Shore and Port, where I go fishing for flounders in 1651, and I've actually got a song on the album about how I was one of the rounded militia who was too pissed to catch it. Anyway, I dreamt that she was writing the album. It's really strange. Anyway, so this is a song about Thomas Harrison. As I say, absolute dedicated Republican, it was so dead hard that when the king was restored, the rest of them fled. He didn't flee; he just stayed there, and he was arrested as a regicide and condemned to death by the process of being hung, drawn, and quartered. And Samuel Pepys, in his diary, describes how in October 1660 he went to Southwark to see the execution of Major General Thomas Harrison, and described Harrison as being in as good spirits as one could expect in the circumstances. Harrison was a lawyer, a friend of Cromwell he. In wartime a commander with the new model army. He rose to Major General and bravely led the line. Brought Charles the London prisoner in 1649. This song's for Thomas Harrison, a bold and steadfast man, a rebel to the bitter end and staunch Republican. His gruesome fate our history had never seen before. Hung, drawn and quartered by a foe he thrashed in war. Hung, drawn and quartered by a foe he thrashed in war. He signed the King's death warrant, 17th of 51. And when the second Charles returned, another war he won. He led his men at Worcester, where Parliament held sway, then chased the King to Shoreham, from where he skulked away. This song's for Thomas Harrison, a bold and steadfast man, a rebel to the bitter end and staunch Republican. His gruesome fate our history had never seen before. Hung, drawn and quartered by a foe he thrashed in war. Hung, drawn and quartered by a foe he thrashed in war. Cromwell made law protector, Harrison made a stand. 4 times condemned to prison, but his old friend's command. He sided with the levellers against the grandee's might. Said if not for equality, why didn't the army fight? This song's for Thomas Harrison, a bold and steadfast man, a rebel to the bitter end and staunch Republican. His gruesome fate our history had never seen before. Hung, drawn and quartered by a foe he thrashed in war. Hung, drawn and quartered by a foe he thrashed in war. When Monk the traitor brought the king back, Harrison did not flee. Arraigned as regicide, he said, you mostly did as me. It was the will of Parliament, condemned to hang and bleed. He punched the executioner who carried out the deed. This song's for Thomas Harrison, a bold and steadfast man, a rebel to the bitter end and staunch Republican. His gruesome fate our history had never seen before. Hung, drawn and quartered by a foe he thrashed in war. Hung, drawn and quartered by a foe he thrashed in war. Thank you.